It's a new week in the Crew Motorfest, and this week's theme is called Autogeist, Germany's fastest, and this is my summit guide. Let's go. All right, let's start off with the cars. The bundle this week is going to cost you 2.2 million, and you're going to get the Mercedes AMG 1 and the Porsche 919 Street. Both of those cars are hypercars. You're not going to need any additional vehicles because everything else in the summit is either going to use one of those two or a loaned vehicle. All right, the keys to this summit are going to be patience, man. There's a lot of long races here, and you're going to have to try things multiple times. So just be patient and just keep going. I encourage you guys to increase your scores and try to get better. It will help you for the future. You're practicing now. All right, the rewards for this summit look like this, and this week it is a car up for grabs. I don't know exactly how I feel about this car so far. It's got great acceleration, really good brakes, but it doesn't gutter as well as some other cars, and so it's really difficult to tell if this is going to be a meta car or not. The T50 in racing actually just feels so OP right now that I just don't see this car overtaking it. Now, could it be useful in certain situations? Maybe. But we'll have to see next week when we actually get the car in the games. I think you guys should do whatever you can to try to get the car because it is a really cool looking car. All right, here are the pro settings for the two cars, and then we'll get into the events. All right, the first event is with that loaned vehicle. This is the brand new Porsche. If you don't get a chance to drive it after this summit, you get to drive it now. So just play this event over and over again. Anyways, there's not a lot to this race. It's a lot of just maintaining your speed in the gutters and your NOS on the highways. But there is a couple of cuts. One right here at about, what, 9%. You can cut across the grass here, avoid the block walls, avoid the stone walls, I should say, and then get back on the road. I encourage you to let your NOS get up in the blue before you start using it. All right, let's move on to the next section here. So this turn here is super sharp and you're going up the hill. Now there's a checkpoint here at the bottom, which means you're going to have to make this turn one way or the other. Now you can choose to maybe drift this corner, but I guarantee you're going to lose a lot of traction in the grass there because it is a racing car. So what I would do instead is just go ahead and take the wall ride. You can either do that or just go ahead and slow down and take the corner. Either way, you're slowing down to take the corner. The wall ride just helps you do that, you know, in a faster manner. So, all right, now you're coming down the hill and you're going to be faced with basically that same corner. And in this case, I tried the wall ride again, but I wanted to do it before the checkpoint so that I could cut the checkpoint early. It just didn't work out for me that well. I think I could have hit the wall very early. Instead of hitting it where I did, I should have hit it, you know, way earlier to slow me down, and then I would have made the checkpoint. But in this case, it didn't slow me down enough, and then I went wide. So I would recommend either hitting the wall, you know, sooner or just brake early and make the corner normally. The rest of this race is about managing NOS. So this is all highway section here. Just make sure you're getting up to 7th gear and then keeping the car really close to 240, 250 miles an hour. Outside of that, there's not really any more like cuts per se. So let's move on. All right, the next event is with the 919 Street in hypercar class. For this one, it's pretty simple, but there are a couple of things that you should definitely know. So let's fast forward to those. This section of the race, you're going to go through twice, and you're going to do basically the same thing each time you go through it. You're going to cut this checkpoint flag here, slow down a little bit so you don't go into the grass on the other side, and then try to connect with this gutter here. Now, immediately after this, I missed the gutter. You're going to put it in 6th or 7th and just blast the NOS because you're going to need to get up as close to top speed as possible here. When you get to this one, I usually drift this, downshift into 4th, and then cut right after this van across that little parking lot. All right, here at 32%, you're going to cut right after the house. Make sure you get the checkpoint. You can kind of cut inside of it, then cut this corner again, and then you're back here again, cut this one again. So it's just like 3 corner cuts in a row. Now you're back at this same spot. Take this gutter. I did a little bit better that time. I was a little bit more cautious. Dump it in 7th and just dump the NOS. Notice I'm up at 270. Could have went faster, but I didn't want to use all my NOS. Again with the drift, down to 4th, and right after the van, go ahead and cut the corner. You might be tempted to cut this corner. I strongly suggest going in the gutter instead. Even that poor gutter that I just did was faster than trying to cut it. And you can cut this corner after the green sign at 57%. Or this turn at 72%. There's a couple of visual cues that help me. So the first thing is this tree and this pole. I'm trying to cut as close to those as possible. And then when you get into this little middle section here, these bushes on the side don't really slow you down too much. And so you can actually go through those and you maintain a lot of traction and grip. Just don't hit these big trees. These big trees will slow you down a lot. So you can go through some of those bushes and then get over here to the right before this turn, because then you can take this turn a lot faster. So the full sequence looks like this: close to the pole, a little bit of bushes, next to the wall, and then cut in towards this wall and make the turn. And be in 7th and blast the NOS into the 290s. That's it. The rest of this race is all highway, so should be good. Let's move on. All right, the next race is one of those like rival races, one of those dynamic races. And for this one, I recommend the 919 again. There's a lot of like really technical, sort of surprising corners here. It's very easy to overdrive this course. There's a couple of cuts I recommend. One is right here. Go straight across towards the checkpoint. You can even use NOS in the air if you want. I kind of fell into that gutter, didn't really need to take it. You're going to take this corner normally and then get yourself back up to top speed, but don't use a lot of NOS here. You want to use just enough to get yourself going, because you're going to slow down for some of these like gutter turns here. This corner here is tricky. I would just go through it. I use the wall a little bit to make the corner a little bit faster. You probably could do that even faster than I did as well. Now there's also a cut here at this checkpoint. Cut left. Try not to hit the big tree, but I did. And then rejoin with the road there. Now at the bottom of this hill here, you can see there's a really sharp turn. I just went ahead and reset this one. This car has really good acceleration, so a reset there is probably okay. And I believe that's the end of this race. It is. You got a couple more turns here and you're finished. Let's move on. All right, the next race, we're going to be using the 919 again. And this race is literally all about highways. I mean, it's the whole thing is basically straight. You have a couple of gutter sections right at the beginning here. Outside of that, it is straight ahead. So if you have a slipstream partner, then that's going to benefit you a lot on this race. And if you don't, it's okay. You can still get a good time. So this right here is one of the tough corners. Make sure you're in the gutter there. When you hit the walls, just, you know, get back on the road. Same thing here. Try not to hit those block walls. They will, or the stone walls, they're definitely going to hurt your time. Again here, gutter. And then this is about managing NOS. Watch how patient I am here. You want to be patient with it. Then use a bunch to get into 7th. Let it recover a little. Then push it. Now look, I've got basically top speed. I messed up that corner. I was basically at top speed with a full tank. That's what you want. You're going to have to downshift here because this is a tight corner. And then back to 7th. I skipped 6 completely on that. The rest of the course is literally just managing your NOS. That's it. Let's move on. All right, the next event is on the track and it's with the AMG 1. This is a lapped race. I'm just going to show you my second lap. I feel like this is the lap I did the best on, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, I had a pretty decent race, but there's some sections that are, you know, you need to be cautious with. So I'm going to play the whole lap and just talk through it. But here's the first part. When you're coming up on this first turn in the first lap, not a big deal because you're not going that fast. But on this one, you need to downshift really hard into 4th and try to stay off this red stuff. For some reason, it makes the back end of the car go out a little. So try to stay off that stuff. Into 4th here. Gutter on this one. And then be patient with NOS. Be patient. Get it to 6th. And then the second you're ready to shift to 6th, notice I'm in 5th here. And I go to shift to 6th. I just go straight to 7th. And then I'm blasting. Because this can be taken at full speed. When you get up here, then go ahead and blast a little more. And then when you get to the bottom of this hill, you're going to run into the tire stacks on the left side. Just go left, hit the wall, down into 2nd gear, and turn away from the wall. You can use a little bit of NOS here, but you don't want to use like your whole tank on that straight. Now this one, you're going to downshift into 3rd to make this corner. Be patient, then go to 5th and blast. This is a 4th gear turn here. Again, you have to have patience here on this turn. Get into 5th and blast. You need to be upshifting. And if you're in automatic, I know you don't have the ability to do that. So just manage as best you can and understand where I'm using NOS. Just go ahead and use your NOS there. Downshift, hit the gutter if you can. It'll help you with the turn. Into 4th for here. Down into 2nd for this gutter here. And then you can go into third for this one here. Again, very patient corners. Patient with the NOS, get to sixth. And as soon as you're going to go to sixth, just go straight to seventh and blast. And that's the whole lap. All right, the last event before we get to the feats is going to be the event that frustrates a lot of you just simply because of the length of the race. It's going to be like a 10 or 11 minute race for everybody. And it's tough. It's challenging. There's not a lot I can tell you on this race, okay? There's not a lot of shortcuts. There's not a lot of like tricks to this race. It is literally just you and the road and the car, and you got to try to do your best to go as fast as you can. So I'm going to fast forward to the places where I feel like are the most important. So let me skim through this and I'll try to give you as much advice as possible. When you're coming off this bridge, you can cut this corner if you'd like. You don't have to. If you take the corner really fast in the gutter, it's not a problem at all. So no worries there. This corner here, you're going pretty quick and you need to make a very sharp corner. It's okay to hit the wall there. Just make sure you do it like this, where you give the back end of the car to the wall there. Then you don't lose any speed. If you look at my speed going into it, 172. After hitting the wall, it dropped down to 150, but immediately with the NOS, right back up to 175. So you don't really lose a lot of speed if you can tap the back of the car. This right-hander that comes up here is always tricky, even in the grand races. You have to lift on this corner. If you don't lift, you're not going to make the corner. This car right here cannot make that corner at full speed. It just can't happen. So you have to lift. You even have to downshift into sixth, which is what I did. All right, here at about 47%, you're going to downshift and go across the grass by the trees and then get back on the road. I did not mean to drift that. You probably want to try to, maintain grip if you can. When you come out of this gutter here at 59%, you should have a full tank of NOS. You need to have a full tank of NOS, so don't overuse NOS on the previous section before you get there, because you need that full tank in order to get the car up to speed here on this long straight, because you're going to use that momentum to carry you forward. All right, you might be tempted to take this shortcut here. We fly over this mountain all the time. You can see it on the mini map. It looks like a shortcut. Don't do it. This is what happens when you do it. You go right over the checkpoint. You don't get credit for it, and you're gonna have to reset. So don't do that one. But shortly after that, you can do this one here at about 73. That one is faster, so take that one. Now there's another one here, but it's kind of risky. This little double hump here. You can jump over the wall. You should be aiming for the left side of this pole. So you jump, and then you see this pole right here. Just aim for like the left side of that, and you should tilt the car up when it jumps. You got to tilt the front end of the car up, and then it'll look something like this. Keep turning the car. Make sure you hit the checkpoint. And there you go. When you get to this corner here, you can cut this right by these silos, these water tanks. Cut that corner. And that's actually it. This last corner is a gutter turn. Jump in the gutter there. I messed it up, but try to hit it if you can. That's kind of it. All right, let's move on to the feats. All right, the first escape is very simple. It's literally just following the highway. That's all you got to do, and you're gonna get a full score. So you literally just hit the escape from the direction that you came when it spawned you. I don't know why I can't talk right now. And then just follow this highway. You're literally just following this up. That's it. Highway the whole time. Now I did something cool here. Coming out of this tunnel here, I knew there was a break in the wall, and I just jumped down. Didn't lose any speed there. Pretty cool. But this is it. Highway all the way to here. Circle will finally catch you, and it's plenty of points. All right, for the speed trap, you're going to need a Nitro Chemist set with pure and frenetic. That's what you should be going with every speed trap. Now, if you just want to hit this straight on, you can. If you look at the mini map here, you can go back and to the left over here, and then kind of run up some speed. And when you get onto this straight, just blast your NOS. You'll get to top speed. You get like 300 miles per hour. That gives you like 147 miles or 147,000 or something like that. At least something ridiculous. 146,000. Something more than enough. You don't need to go crazy on it. But if you want to know the tactic that the super sweaty people are using to get much faster on this, you got to go this way. So turn to the right and then go over here, and there's a jump right here that'll put you on the roof. And then once you're on the roof, you see these blocks. You're gonna go to the left or to the right of this last block. So it's right here. Okay. And then the approach is basically through all this like mess in here. You got to make, first of all, you got to be going fast enough. I don't know exactly how fast you need to go, but you got to go fast enough. And you got to make your way through all this junk. It's annoying as hell, and you shouldn't have to do this, but this is just part of this game. Again, you don't have to do this. You could just do it normally, but I'm going to show you this because this is the trick. So notice I'm having trouble with it. Let me go to the one where I actually did it right. So I'm rolling up at about 100 to the left here, drive through here, get some speed, hit the pipes, point the car up, and get through the speed trap. 313. People are doing like 325 on that. That's 149. So what I just did, which is way more difficult than just driving straight, gets you about, I don't know, 3,000 more points in the summit. Not really worth it in my opinion, but that's how you do it if you want to try it. All right, for the second escape, you're going to go the opposite way from which you spawn. So just go back, get yourself a run up, and turn around. Get through this escape thing, and then just try to keep the car on the road here. I messed up a couple of times. I still got a decent score. You're going to stay on this road on the right here. Stay straight at this cross, and just continue on down this road. Once you get to here on the mini map, you're going to take a right and go onto the highway. So slow down and get on the highway. After that, it's pretty self-explanatory. You're literally just staying on the highway the whole time. So just stay there, keep it going, and the thing will eventually catch you. Now, if you're really fast, you could probably make this curve in the mini map here, this curve on the highway, the left-hander, probably make it past that and keep going for quite a bit more. But I was, I drove it pretty poorly. At 7,800 yards gets you 157,700, which is almost a perfect score. So it's not really worth optimizing past that. All right, here are my final scores. Make sure you DM me with any questions you might have. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this helps, and I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.